Hello, welcome to another edition of Chris Speaks. Let me take this off. I'm your host, Christopher Thompson. I'm mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take it anymore. I'm working on it. Okay, so we got some headlines today. Okay, the IDF, you may or may not have heard this, the IDF has tied Palestinians, wounded Palestinians, to their the hood and the roof of their car, of their Humvees, their military vehicles, as human shields. We'll get into that later. The Palestinian girl, a 5-year-old Palestinian girl, was deliberately shot by the IDF from their tanks. They didn't use tank shells; they used the machine guns on the tanks, and then. Okay, we'll get into that later. And third one is Aipac. Aipac basically, okay, and the guy, so Jamal Bowman lost to a man who was, it was a, what do they call it? Come on, a primary guy who's kind of virtually unknown, who was backed by Aipac to get Bowman out of there because he's a Muslim and he doesn't think it's cool for Israel to murder people, so they did their best to get rid of him. Okay, and last thing, and this is interesting, it doesn't mean they're going to get out of Gaza. No, they're still going to bomb them until probably nobody's left, and I wish there was something I could do about it, but it doesn't seem like there is. All I can do is try to get the news out there that's being hidden, so it'll change. So because if we let our government know that we're not gonna put up with this crap where they where our taxpayers' money is being used to send bombs to kill toddlers. We're not gonna deal with that. Well, anyways, okay, so Israel, it says it's wrapped up its operations in Rafah, nowhere else. It's nowhere close to doing what it was trying to do, but they're getting ready to go into Lebanon now. And their excuse is because, Hezbollah is attacking them. Well, Hezbollah said they're attacking you because you're attacking the Palestinians. And there's even this line, I think it was this lie that was from this newspaper. I think I brought this up, that they said that it's an English newspaper. I forgot what it's called. It's owned by the same guy who owns Fox News, and so they were claiming that their airports were hiding weapons and stuff, and it's a bunch of trash. So they're going to go into Lebanon because they want to try to take it over again. They tried to do it before, way back in the 80s, and that's actually why Hezbollah was created. Yes, they're terrorists, but they were terrorists that pushed Israel out of Lebanon. Lebanon went in Israel went into Lebanon because they want Lebanon. They want all that land around Israel. Their Israel isn't the Israel they have. They want the greater Israel, which is basically a big chunk of the Middle East that's around them. Okay, so let's get down to it now. Okay, so the first one is, I think it's the first one. Okay, so the IDF took basically wounded Palestinians, and they tied them to their Humvees as human shields, and the people have come out about it, and the claim from Israel is, they needed a ride. They asked us for a ride, and there wasn't any room inside the Humvees, so we tied them to theirs to give them a ride. Was that before or after you shot them? No matter what they do, it doesn't matter what they do, they make an excuse, and the United States government parrots that excuse, and the news always goes with those talking points, because now the news is basically they're just the yes men for the government now. We don't have free press anymore, The only free press we have is the independent press, and they're trying to shut that down. We're having trouble with getting information out of Gaza because Israel's destroyed the internet infrastructure, and they're not going to let it be up anytime soon. They said never. But why does the people who are basically illegally occupying someone, why do they get to control the water and the electricity and the internet and all that crap? That's evil. The reason they don't get much water because Israel won't only let them have a little bit. They'll turn it on for like 3 hours and then turn it off. In what fucking world is that okay? So they on that, the thing about tying the people to the Humvee, it's okay because Israel is investigating themselves, and of course they'll find themselves innocent. That's like, dude, think about like the police. When there's police corruption, there's what do they call it? I think it's internal affairs comes investigate us. We don't say, okay, the LA Police Department is corrupt, so we're going to have them investigate themselves. No. Well, let's have Donald Trump investigate himself and find himself not guilty of all the things he's actually guilty of. What kind of world do we live in? I mean, this is totally ridiculous. Okay, so what's the next one? Okay. Got a little bit of notes down here. Okay, so this was back in January that this happened, and they're investigating themselves on this one too. So there was a 5-year-old girl. What was her name? Oh, do I have her name down somewhere? Okay, so anyways, I don't have her name right here. She's this little 5-year-old girl, and she was so this little girl and her family were killed by the IDF. Well, they were shot first, and she was still okay, and her cousin was calling 911. Okay, well, not whatever their 911 is. It's not 911, but it's their emergency thing. So she was calling them, and they killed her while she was calling them. They made sure they tracked down the 3 ambulances that were going down there and killed all the paramedics that were on the way. And then they're claiming, oh, we didn't do it on purpose. Okay, so you knew they had intercepted the phone call, so they knew where they were, so they killed her for no so she wouldn't be a witness, and they killed the paramedic drivers. Okay, this is completely against international law. There's a reason we have international law because of what happened during World War II, and we're not just talking about the Nazis and what they did in their war and what they did to the Jewish people when they put them in concentration camps. We're talking about what we did, not just to what we did with the nuclear bombs and dropping them on, atomic bombs and dropping them on Japan, but just how we killed a lot of civilians with to defeat the Germans. Everybody did a lot of bad things, and so we got this group together that we now know as the United Nations, and their job was to make sure that this didn't happen again. That there's going to be wars, but we're going to make rules of war. And one of the number 1 rules of war is you do not blow up hospitals, and you do not blow up ambulances. You don't kill medical people or reporters or aid workers. They're doing all of that. And to make it seem like they're not doing this, this is the worst they've ever done it. They are trying to do what they've been trying to do the whole time, is they are trying to rid themselves of the Palestinians and take all their land. And then I guarantee you, after they go into Lebanon, and if they're successful there and they take that over and they kick all those people out, I mean, where are all these people going to go? So they're going to kick all the Lebanese people out and then bring in all these what do they call them? They're colonists, but they call them, I don't know, the people, like the people on the West Bank. Okay, so I'm bad at this and my notes suck. So, oh well, don't worry about that. That's just something. It's not broken. So it's just a mess, and we're supporting this. And I don't mean we're just supporting like, oh yeah, we support it. No, we are sending bombs to kill Palestinians, and they're killing innocent people, and they're doing it on purpose. And you gotta realize the majority of, I don't know how much of a majority, but a majority of the people in Palestine are children under the age of 10. So, okay, got that. Okay, and then let's see if I got some notes that have her name in it. No, that was bad of me. Okay, so I guess the next one would be Jamal Bowman, but which sadly, Jamal Bowman, congressman, I believe, somewhere in New York. He's the guy he's black, he's Muslim, and he's obviously pro-Palestinian, and he has been since the beginning. And that was why he was originally elected in the first place. But so this guy named Vladimir was Jamal Bowman. Okay, so Aipac, which is the pro-Israel lobby, and they're not Jewish people. They're mostly evangelical Christians that run this stuff. And okay, so because he's Muslim, I'm sure this is the whole thing. This is why Aipac is against him. He's Muslim, he's black, and he is against the genocide in Palestine, in the occupied territories, and what's going on in the Gaza Strip. So they put all this money into it. $1.4 million to Aipac donated to George Vladimir, who's this white guy, don't know what his religion, pro-Israel, looks like Rodney Dangerfield, and like they put all this money for him to primary Bowman because they don't want a black Muslim guy who says, no, it's not cool that you murder innocent people, and we don't give a shit what your religion is. It doesn't justify that what happened in the Holocaust doesn't justify shit. And just in case you know, a lot of people who survived the Holocaust are totally against what you do. A lot of hardcore Jews are against what Israel is doing because they say that it goes against Jewish law, and I haven't read that much, but so far what I read is, yeah, it does. They are not supposed to do things like this, murder people to steal their land. And it's also against, I know I brought a lot of this stuff up again and again, and because I'm really kind of unorganized. But anyways, so it's just really sad because Bowman was a really good guy, and he's one of the few Muslims we have that are who are in Congress or anywhere in our government. Yeah, we got Jewish guys, we got Christian. They're mostly Christian, and we never had a president that wasn't a Christian besides Trump, who pretended to be a Christian to get elected. They don't get elected. You have to be. If they don't think you're Christian, they won't elect you, especially if you're Republican. So this is the whole thing, and like the reason because they're headlines for one thing, but the reason it's always the stuff about Israel is I have a big heart. I don't hate Jewish people. I have no problem with anybody as long as they're not murdering toddlers. If you guys have not seen the videos and stuff, it'll take a little bit of research and finding some news sources that aren't mainstream, because the mainstream news isn't telling you crap. So some independent news, a lot of stuff on YouTube and stuff. If you see the images, the videos, the stuff I've seen, and you still think that it's not a genocide, and you still think, oh hey, there goes Israel defending themselves. They're defending themselves by slaughtering civilians. And they're going to defend themselves by slaughtering more civilians, and instead of just going after, they're going to go into a whole other country and invade them to get rid of a terrorist group, which this terrorist group, they are bad, but you got to remember, these were the guys that are the only reason that Israel's first attempt at invading Lebanon didn't work. We can't sit here and be like, oh, okay, well, these people have rights and these people don't have rights. And this idea of, I don't like the idea of any theocracy. I don't like this idea, like, if you don't like Muslim countries, you shouldn't like the idea of a Jewish nation. And this is the problem. Because if you have a democracy, you can't have it favor any group or any religion. You can't call yourself a democracy and then come up with a law that says Israel belongs only to the Jews. No, a democracy belongs to all the people that are its citizens. And what about, okay, this is one statement I'm going to make, and because you hear it over and over again. Israel has the right to exist. Israel has the right to defend themselves. Israel has the right to self-determination. Well, you never hear, why, so if they have that, then also the Palestinians, Palestine has a right to exist. The Palestinians have a right to self-determination, and the Palestinians have a right to defend themselves. And no, it's not in the way freaking Hamas does it, because both sides, it's wrong. It's wrong. You kill innocent people, you're wrong. I don't care what their ideology is, what they think. They're civilians. We don't kill civilians, not intentionally. Okay, so neither side is allowed to do that. And I guarantee you, let them have a country, let them have their owners, and none of this demilitarized shit, because a demilitarized country, unless they have other people defending them, have no rights. So you've got to give them the same rights as everyone else. You can't say, well, they're dirty Muslims and they're Arabs, so they're not allowed to have rights on their own land, but we're allowed to give someone else their land, and that it's okay. We'll say that if people protest an auction that's auctioning off Palestinian land, well, they're anti-Semitic because they did their protest in front of a synagogue. Well, they weren't protesting their Jewishness. They were protesting the illegal sale of Palestinian land, of annexed land, which is illegal by international law. And why can't we just say, yes, they need to follow international law? It can't be this, oh, well, us and our buddies, we don't have to follow international law, but everyone else does. No, that's not the reason international law exists. International law exists for the benefit of everyone. Oh, there's another thing. Okay. Oh, because now the United States is suddenly behind the ICC, the International Criminal Court, because they're going after they want to get what do they call them, arrest warrants for the Russians. What's his name? Oh, Putin and some of his people in there. And the United States says, yeah, wait a second, I thought we were going to do sanctions on them because they did the same thing with Netanyahu. Okay, so if we think they're the bad guys, then yay, we love the ICC. but if there are guys, well, fuck you. They have every right to violate international law over and over and over again, and we're just going to do smear campaigns and try to defund you and put sanctions on a court that is basically over the whole world. Like, it's insane. And it's insane of how suddenly, when it comes to Israel, suddenly Republicans and Democrats are all on the same page. They're all on the same page, and they're like, we love genocide. We want white people to take over the Middle East, and we don't like these brown skin. Oh, and they're not all brown skin. Some of these Palestinian kids have blonde hair and blue eyes. So for you racists, some of them are pretty white. So why don't you now suddenly care about them? Because it seems like nobody in this fucking country cares about anyone unless they're little white kids. If they're white kids, they're fine. Oh, there's another one that wasn't on my agenda here. Headline is, this is weird. So Kenya, okay, the United States is sending Kenyan police to police, to police Haiti, since there's been a bunch of chaos after they assassinated their leader and everything. Okay, so first of all, why is America having anything to do with it? Two, why are you sending Kenyan police, who just the other day Kenyan police shot protesters to death? You're going to have them that don't care about anyone, and you're sending over to them. And why them? And why are you making sure you send black police? What, to make it seem like you're not racist because you're sending a death squad that's composed of black people to shoot down black people? This is what our government does. How about, wait, why are we doing it? Don't they share the same country? Like they're the same island? They're like on an island, I believe. I could be wrong. But one side of it is Haiti, and the other side is, what are they called? The Dominican Republic. Well, why doesn't the rich-ass Dominican Republic, why don't they send people to help them out? But we're not sending them to help out. We're sending them to help kill the people that are against the government, because their government is so freaking, that country, the people are dirt poor, but their leaders are living in freaking palaces and the luxury. And then when they start fighting back, oh, well, let's get people from Kenya? That is insane. Okay, I've gone on. I've been blabbing on for a while here, and well, it didn't work out quite the way I wanted it to. Like, it seems like I do better when I don't have notes, but I'll try to get more organized. I just did a rush job. Okay, so this has been a blast once again. Okay, so this has been another edition of Chris Speaks. I'm your host, Christopher Thompson, and I'm mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take it anymore. Alright, see you guys later. Let me stop this.